The youth of Japan are amongst the most fashion-conscious in the world. They live in a society that revels in the high-tech and the cutting edge. But beneath the veneer of modernity, age-old customs and traditions live on. In sport, sumo is the living embodiment of ancient Japanese culture. To some youngsters here, sumo seems an anachronism, struggling to maintain relevance and appeal. But in May 2006, we found a group of high school boys who still believed.
I've been learning sumo from the first grade, and I kept at it because I wanted to become strong.
This was Kanazawa Gakuin Higashi High School Sumo Club. Each year, Kanazawa, a city on Japan's main island, hosts the Kanazawa Sumo Taikai, or sumo tournament. On the eve of the 2006 competition, we visited the local rikishi, or wrestlers. Keisuke Osawa was the teacher who ran the sumo club.
Our school only came into existence fairly recently. It doesn't have too much tradition. In fact, until perhaps 2 or 3 years ago, we were not particularly strong in sumo at all. However, another coach and I have really tried hard to develop our weaker wrestlers into stronger ones. As a result of the success of this plan, we've also managed to start attracting some really talented individuals as well. And these too have been able to improve once they're here. So I think that maybe explains what's happened.
For those boys talented and dedicated enough, high school sumo remains part of the journey that it's hoped will one day lead to stepping into the dohyo, or sacred ring, as a professional. If you make it, then you aspire to reach the rank of yokozuna, or grand champion. Back in May 2006, the sole yokozuna was Asashoryu, one of the many Mongolians who've made their mark in sumo's top tier. And it was the inroads made by Mongolians and other foreign wrestlers that some believed had contributed to sumo's declining popularity amongst Japanese fans, especially the younger generation. For Osawa, though, there was another simple reason.
Currently, in our country, there's a falling birth rate and a trend towards having fewer children. So let's say 1% of the population practice sumo. Because the population has been declining overall, compared to 1% in the past, 1% now is a smaller total number. So therefore, of course, the number of wrestlers has decreased.
Such demographic trends had helped change Japanese society. Once the nation had a reputation for social conformity, with people thinking first and foremost of their responsibilities towards larger social units, rather than themselves. But we discovered that, especially with younger Japanese, there was nothing wrong with a little naked individualism and personal freedom. And it was against that backdrop that sumo, with its loincloths, overweight physiques, rigid discipline and hierarchy, seemed like too much trouble to inspire many youngsters.
I guess what I find hardest are the things to do with conduct. There's a lot of formal greetings, and you also have to know exactly how to behave with your seniors and juniors at all times.
Most of the 800 students at the school lived on site during term. For the sumo squad, that meant sharing dorms and eating meals together. The following day, the boys would carry the hopes of the city on their shoulders. They were considered one of the favourites, yet despite having developed a reputation as a strong sumo school, they'd never actually won the local competition. But with plenty of local support expected, there was a belief that 2006 would be their year.
I've given it everything in training, so I stand a good chance of winning. In fact, I'm confident we can win.
This was the 90th edition of the Kanazawa Sumo Taikai. It remains the biggest and oldest high school sumo tournament in Japan, and on this occasion, 74 schools from all over the country sent teams. The event began at 8 a.m. and concluded sometime around 7 in the evening. That year it was also acting as a qualifier for the World Amateur Championships. As Kanazawa Gakuin Higashi's team arrived at the dohyo, the uncle of one of their wrestlers, Shota Endo, was amongst the onlookers.
Well, he must have been a second grader in primary school, or thereabouts. His choice of sport has made me really happy. You see, my brother is the boy's dad, and he previously won at the Utatsu Ama tournament in a team event. And if the boy can follow on from him and make our family's dream come true here, it would be wonderful.
Each team had 3 competing wrestlers and an assistant. A point was awarded for each successful bout against an opposing team, and after an opening round, the top-ranked teams progressed into a knockout phase. With the entire school and its cheerleaders in attendance, Kanazawa Gakuin breezed through into the elimination rounds. If pro sumo tournaments can be formal, serious affairs, there was a carnival atmosphere here. Kanazawa Gakuin Higashi needed little encouragement as they reached the quarter-finals with apparent ease. But at that stage, things started to go wrong. In just a few moments, their dreams were dashed. The school was swept in 3 successive bouts and was eliminated. There was no time for the Rikishi to reflect on defeat. They had to present themselves before their classmates as the school sang to thank them for their efforts. The team competition was eventually won by a school from Saitama Prefecture near Tokyo. Though many here wanted a Kanazawa victory, at least they were guaranteed a Japanese winner. Balancing professional sumo's desire to develop an international following and its need to appeal to domestic fans is still an issue. But we saw how there were some young Japanese wrestlers relishing the opportunity of taking on the foreign Rikishi.
There are lots of them, so that means there's more opponents to knock down when I turn pro. I'm looking forward to it.
That challenge would lie ahead for some of the wrestlers. For others, after a day like that, there were more pressing concerns.